Your success blueprint, starting with why and gaining better clarity. Hello, everyone, and you're warmly welcome to the Next Chapter Seminar Series. This is the first in 2023, and it's a privilege to anchor this today. Yes, how has the year been? I trust the year is unfolding greatly for you. Yes, I'm going to start this morning by asking a question. Yes, for me, it's morning here. I don't know at what time you'll be watching this, but let's start with this very important question. I reflected on this during the week and it really got my attention. If I arrived at a future that I do not desire, a future that represents unfulfillment, that represents hardship, please think about this. If I arrived at this future, who do you think I should hold responsible? Who should I hold responsible for a future that I do not desire? I hope you're thinking about it and I hope you're also reflecting on that. So once again, you're welcome. My name is Atinuke Oyewumi, and I'm the Chief Learning Officer at Stance Consulting Limited and also at Life Inspired Academy. This is the Next Chapter Result Hub, and here we want to find new meaning. We train, we coach, we mentor, and we counsel. Why did we create the Next Result Hub? This is because new levels have new demands, and not too many people give thoughts to how to grow into their next level. For some people, it is just about the destination. They just want something new. But for some others, it is about the journey. And they rightfully know that they have to grow into that next thing. That's how it makes sense. And of course, that's why we are here. So we were discussing before and talking about the future. And we're trying to ask ourselves, what steps do we need to take to prevent a bleak future? I'm going to share some concepts with us today, and the first will be on the strategic inflection point, which we have discussed on the WhatsApp group. And I remember saying that our country, Nigeria, and many other nations of the world, as a matter of fact, we can even say the whole world is at an inflection point. And what do we call an inflection point? It is that point where the rate of change is so fast that old methods are no longer giving us desired results. When this is happening, what it means is that we must change something. Okay. So what we need to do is to learn to anticipate and respond with bold action to this rapid change so that we can ensure that the future success really comes on us. This is catastrophic failure, if you ask me. Hardship in the evening of life. Wow. Remember that the energy level is not the same at this time as when we were younger. So we must arrive at a future where things are easier for us and what we did in the past can contribute effectively to what we enjoy in the future. So we need to get this right. It isn't just about working hard, because many people would say, oh, I need to work hard so that I don't suffer later. Yes, of course, we need to work hard, but it is much more about effectiveness. There is that sharp difference between effectiveness and efficiency. Efficiency would mean that the way you do things, yeah, it's speaking to the way you do things. Are you fast? Are you using resources well? But effectiveness is asking that question, are you doing the right thing? And really it's about getting the right results, ensuring that your actions eventually culminate in the kind of result that you love. So there are two things that we can do basically. At a strategic inflection point, we can respond or we can react. How can we respond? We can respond by anticipating change. We talked about the boiling frog syndrome. that teaches us to respond to gradual change, to check when things are changing and not wait for the sudden catastrophic change. Anticipate what could happen to you if things continue this way. And then do an assessment. Assess your skills now. Okay? Are they still economically viable? Or do you think you need to add more skills? Assess. If you check very well, you would find out that there are certain new things that you need to learn. And a good assessment should help you arrive at what you need for the future to be better. Also, when you find out what you need to do, you need to align. One of the reasons that we don't get it right a lot of times is because we draw that picture. Yes, we say this is what we want, but we still don't break away from the old system. We still have the same set of friends. I'm not saying you should throw your friends away, but you're going to get to that point where you see that you need a new set of people in your life. You need to be in a different environment. Even if you're not leaving your country, if you register for a course, you meet new people. You meet people from all over the world. Okay, so what you'll find that I was referring to, if you register for an online course, for example, it just puts you in a different environment where the discussions are different from what you knew before. That's a way to align. For some of us, we have to just work on this alignment system. When your alignment is right, it helps you position. Much of success is about positioning. I'll take that again. Much of success is about positioning. If you're rightly positioned, things will flow to you. So how can you ensure that you align yourself for growth so that your new system helps you to grow? Also, let's talk about reacting to change. Remember, this is the strategic inflection point. Let me bring out my marker now so I can show some things. Yes, I got a pen here. This is the inflection point. And from this point, you have only two options. You're going to either go down or you're going to go up. Please, let's watch this carefully. So when the rate of change is progressing, if you do not change something that you are doing, if you do not become a new person, if you don't change your paradigm, most especially, your paradigm is your set of philosophies, I can say that, the way you see things, the way you perceive things. If your perspective does not change, you find out that you stay there. Maybe you give into inaction. Maybe you're blaming. That's how to react. Okay? If you're blaming the government, if you're blaming your friends, I know some people who are like in their late 50s and they still blame their parents. Okay? What you see is that after a while, just a while, you can't stay stagnant forever. After a while, you begin to go down. This is showing for a business, but the same happens to individuals. We also call this the career inflection point. But then, as I said before, if you take your time and you anticipate, you assess, you align, and you begin to grow, your business will grow, your career will grow. Remember that whatever you have your hands in right now cannot get better than you get better. Whatever it is you're doing, your relationship cannot get better beyond your ability to get better. Your business will not get better beyond your personal ability to get better. The same thing goes for your career. So the takeaway from the inflection point is that we should respond. We should change our paradigm so that we can create new results. Also, I would like to talk about the inverted curve. Okay, I use a lot of tools when I teach so that they help us make sense of what I'm trying to describe. The inverted curve is trying to check something very important. I'm looking for the best way to explain this. So at this point, okay, you would see that you're just trying to get to move. At this point, you have boredom. At this point, you have inaction. Okay, you haven't taken any step to create your results. Some people stay here. Okay, things are changing, but they are not changing. I know John Maxwell said, you cannot afford to remain the same in a world that is changing every day. So when people stay here, their results don't change, and over time, they just get obsolete and nobody pays attention to them anymore. But of course, if you start to do something, you notice that you're moving and you're moving upward. I want us to note this point. At this point is where you have maximum impact. I'll explain to us why this matters. If you begin to take too many steps, that is also reaction. Okay? If you begin to put your hands into too many things that you cannot manage, what's going to happen is that at the end of the day, you would find yourself back here, where the results that you get will be similar to the results of the people who didn't do anything. I hope this makes sense. Another way I can describe it, just on a lighter note, somebody said that the people who are poor have their children out of school. That's because they do not have money to send them to school. That's the result they have, and that's here. And some people who are rich have their children out of school, not because they don't have the money to send the children to school. They have actually sent the children to school, but the children are not in school due to vices. Okay, so the results are the same. I hope we got it better that way. Some people wouldn't do anything and they don't have the results they desire. Some people would take misguided action. I call it this the difference between apathy and misguided actions. Okay. If you go for apathy, you don't do anything about how things are changing, your result will be here. If your actions are misguided, if your actions are misguided, if you don't have a strategy for what you're doing, at the end of the day, you wouldn't be different from the people who didn't take steps. A lot of times, people here are even much more difficult to later convince. They will tell you, oh, there is nothing you want to tell me that I'll listen to again. When I saw that change was coming, I registered for 10 courses. I finished the 10 of them. Okay, I put money in investment, 20 investment. They did too many things without planning, without focus. So they are spent by the time they get here. Everything that you do and you don't succeed in eats away at your willpower if you're not careful. Okay? So we must guide our actions. We must guide our actions. I want to move on. I hope we got that. And if you need more explanation on that, please reach out to me at the end of this presentation. Let's talk again also about the Beckett-Harris change model. I like to use tools. Tools help you to get clear about what you're doing. So what this formula is telling us that is that D multiplied by V multiplied by F must be greater than R, where D represents your dissatisfaction with status quo. You must know what you're dissatisfied with. The reason some people have not changed, their conditions have not changed in the last 10 or 20 years they've been complaining about it, is because they're not truly dissatisfied. The day you are truly dissatisfied, you will begin to create a vision for a preferable future. And that's your next step. Identify what you're dissatisfied with and create a picture of the future that you desire. If, for example, you're dissatisfied with always being broke, you can tell yourself, how can I get to a future where at any time that I need money, I just have more than enough? Okay, that's a beautiful picture. And then once you have this picture, you then move to the next first step. This is where the difference comes from the people who just wish and hope and pray. It's different from when you wish and then you hope and then you pray and then you work. You find what to do to ensure that that condition does not persist. So you identify the first step. What should I do? Okay, should I speak to a mentor? Should I register in a new course? Should I improve my skills? What's the next step you can take? So once you identify the first three, your D and V and F, now you have to ensure that all of these efforts are greater than your resistance. Somebody would ask, can I resist change? Yes, it's human nature to resist change. We want the benefits of change, but often, most often than not, we do not want the stress that comes, with change. So you must ensure that your efforts are greater than your resistance. Okay. I'm going to move on. And yes, on the platform, we try to talk about the why concept. And the why concept basically is asking you, why do you want a new chapter? Okay. What new chapter do you want? Who are you? Somebody said, it is funny how people are looking forward to do, but they do not even know who they are. The best thing that can happen for you is to know who you are so that you can identify what to fit yourself into. Who are you? What are the values that you have within you? What are the experiences in the past that shaped who you are? Can you tell your own story effectively? And then we've talked about what you desire for the future. The most important thing here, what are you willing to do to make your dreams come true? Many of us watched the Chinese bamboo video, okay? And the farmer was willing to put in everything. They said he hoped against hope. He had faith when he had no reason to have faith. He really wanted it and was willing to pay the price. In that video, the Chinese farmer did pay the price and he was able to get his desirable future. So I would say to you at this point, you need to create your blueprint. You need a blueprint to succeed. Please do not just act. Do not just follow people. People do things that they are strong at. Many people do things that they are strong at. So you need to create what I call a personal SWOT analysis. This lets you know your strengths, you now. I like to talk. I like to read. Do I like numbers? No. Okay. So if I'm going to be effective, I am not going to have a plan that would force me to work with numbers. If you're working against your strength, you really cannot excel. The best you would do is to avoid failure. If you're working against your strength, you really will not excel at what you do. The best you would do is to avoid failure. So a personal SWOT analysis would give you your own blueprints. The emphasis here is on your. In the management field, at some point, benchmarking was really a thing. And benchmarking would mean that you go to explore a company that is successful, for example, and then you try to imitate them or you check your actions against what they are doing. Okay, sometimes you say what they're doing is the standard, but do you know that what they are doing may even be something that they are regretting already? Okay, so if you just go and copy that, it means that you're going to run into the mistakes that they ran into. Another way to look at this also is that if you're trying to copy someone who's just working with their flow, who's working in their strength, they're operating from a sound position of strength because they have innate ability for what they do. If you copy them and you don't have those innate abilities, you're really going to be frustrated. Okay, create your own blueprint for success. And then, of course, I like to summarize it by saying, let your plan fit you. Let it fit your age. Let it fit your needs. Somebody may be taking life easy because they've stashed enough money. to last them a lifetime. Okay? If you are not those people, create a plan that fits you, understanding how much you would need in the future. And then again, before we say, let me go to the next chapter, you need to ask yourself, why do I need to move to the next chapter? Why? 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 How many levels of why do you go before you arrive at what you're doing? I need money. Why do I need money? Okay? I need money for education. Why do I need money for education? I need money for education because the environment I'm in, education is expensive. Why is education expensive? Okay, something will be expensive for you in comparison to your income. If you jack that income up, suddenly it's no longer expensive. Being expensive is relative. So basically what I'm trying to say here is that we need deep levels of thinking. And then of course it is so important that you know the result you want to create. Let me take a new dimension to this. Some people feel a vacuum, and that vacuum, they may be making money, right? But they feel, I know I have money, but there's just that thing that I've not been able to do. I don't feel fulfilled. When you check it very well, you're going to find out that at the time they picked up their job or career, whatever it is they do, or business, they probably did not factor fulfillment in. This may be tough, okay? And someone may say, but at that time they just needed money. So if you check that and explore it very well, you find out that you shouldn't just pick solutions without having a holistic picture. If you pick a solution, I'm a family person, for example, and by being a family person, I mean I love my family, okay? I love to have quality family time. I wouldn't want a career that takes me away from my family, okay? So if I want to move to a new level, my next chapter, I want to be sure that whatever it is I put my hands into would still give me my quality family time. Okay, so get a clear and holistic picture so that you don't climb a ladder after 30 years, then discover that it was a wrong ladder. I hope this makes sense to you. And then, this is the major appraisal that we need to do here. I call this the timer framework for honest self-appraisal. We keep saying we want new things. We keep saying we want to move to a new level. We need to go back in time. Let's go back in time. Let us check how effective we have been with time, with money, with our energy, and with our relationships. Why are we doing this? We are testing for something. We are testing to ensure that we have what it takes to move to the next chapter. Remember at the beginning, I said new levels have new demands, and we cannot remain what we are and expect that we can have new things. They say you don't put new wine into old wine skin, right? Otherwise, the wine bursts and you waste the wine. So let's just do a brief assessment. Let's pick time at this point. Are you happy with your time investment? Do you think you could have used time better? What can you say about your level of time consciousness? How would you rate your sense of urgency? Do you think you have missed opportunities, major ones in the past, because you didn't honor time? Now, let me say this. Nobody can succeed who doesn't know how to manage time. I hope that phrase was correct. I would rephrase it again. We cannot succeed in anything meaningful if we do not know how to honor time. So if you're struggling with time management, you need to know that your next chapter will not accommodate that. Otherwise, things will just keep remaining the same. You have to work on it. Let's look at money. How have you made money in the past? How have you managed money in the past? Have you been able to multiply money in the past? Somebody just wakes up and say, I want more money. What did you do with the one you got? We need to assess so that we know your capability for handling money. Okay. Also, let's talk about energy. How well have you been able to coordinate your efforts? Let me dwell a little on this. I often say that whatever you did in the past should be able to contribute to the future, but it doesn't happen automatically. It only happens for people who are strategic. You may be in a job right now and you're thinking, let me just leave. But if you think deeply, you may find the reasons why you should endure, why you should stay. Because maybe you want to make up a certain number of years or still gain some expertise or gain some experience, some exposure that would help you in the future. If you see people who move from thing to thing to thing and they don't care how they dissipate energy, go and check them later on. They find it difficult to gain rewards from the usage of energy. I'm trying my best to explain this. I'm just trying the best I can. So you need to coordinate your efforts. You cannot just put your energy in any place. Ask yourself, what will this benefit me in the future? And this is really important. Now, if you're able to do an assessment and you can test for these skills, I'm going to tell you just a little later on what we are testing for here. If you're able to coordinate yourself with these skills, you would find out that success is cheap. It's about alignment. It's about positioning. Also, finally, yes, I skipped this, relationships. How have you used relationships in the past? I love a saying that you cannot succeed without relationships. I met a very religious person who said, once I pray, I only need God. Oh, we all need God. But God doesn't crack the window of heaven open to come down and assist us. He sends people. This is where attitudinal intelligence comes in. Emotional intelligence comes in here. And I was reading that book by Seth Godin, The Practice, How to Ship Creative Work, where Seth was saying that attitude has skills. They help you to build quality relationships. You need relationships to succeed. If you did not know this in the past, as you move to your next chapter, now you need to know this. And if you have done it well in the past, I'll say congratulations. Now you can go to the next level and get better at creating and managing and maintaining successful relationships. I hope my points are making sense to you. I really wanted this session to be a short one, just to clarify some of the discussions that we have had on our WhatsApp group. Okay, what are we testing for? Remember, I said when you do that appraisal, we're testing for your level of personal effectiveness. We're testing for financial intelligence. We're testing to see how strategic you can be. And of course, your level of emotional intelligence. A couple of other things that we're testing for here. Why are we testing? Let me take your mind back to the strategic inflection point. I said that you need to anticipate how things are changing. You need to assess. Okay, so we are now at that point where we are assessing. How strong are you, okay, in managing your finances? How strong are you in being strategic? You're assessing so that you can identify the gaps that you need to cover. The moment you're covering your skills gaps effectively, growth would just be a byproduct. If you cover your skills gaps effectively, you would grow automatically. You would build capacity. And this is why we took this appraiser. You may want to rewind and play this video again so that you can take your time to do this assessment. Somebody said we can never get past lying to ourselves, and our actions would stem from the story that we tell ourselves. So if somebody has a zero account balance this morning, for example, and they're telling themselves, well, I know I'm a good money manager. I only don't have money in my account. Okay? If they tell themselves that story, then that means that they're not going to get any better. Okay? They're not going to improve. But if you're honest, if you say, hey, come, money has passed through my hands, but I can categorically tell you that I didn't manage money well, that means that you're ready for change. What we're looking for here is our change readiness. We want to check and be sure that we're ready for change. We don't want a situation where you're just desiring something new and you just want something new, but you're not prepared to take the steps that will take you to your next chapter. I want to believe that the time that we have spent here today has made some sense to you. And I say success is never an accident. Yeah, this is not me. This is Dan Miller. Dan Miller says success is never an accident. It typically starts as an imagination. It becomes a dream. It stimulates a goal and then grows into a plan of action, a plan of action, a plan of action. Someone asked me, I noticed that when there's a way you react to the God factor. And I quickly said, please, we all need God. God opens doors for us, right? God gives us the grace to be alive, but we have responsibilities. And that is the part that I focus on, to help us so that we know that we need a plan of action. There are actions to take for things to change. There are actions to take for stories to change. How many years have you seen some people pray for a change of story? Once the new year starts, they say, oh, my story must change this year. My story must change this year. But they are not taking commensurate actions. So when we take the right actions, we would inevitably meet with opportunity. So I always ask people, when opportunities come, are you able to take them up? For example, some people complain that there are no opportunities. Really? There are many opportunities. You're only able to key into the ones you're capable of taking up. So do you want to look at your capability and identify how you need to grow so that you can be more capable? In the world right now, as I speak, there are so many opportunities. Which one can you take? Okay, so I want to ensure that we do not get stuck along the way. Yes, at the next chapter Result Hub, finding new meaning, we have management consultants, business development experts, career growth consultants, psychotherapists, psychometrics, and behavioral alignment experts. Our main objective at the next chapter Result Hub to help individuals, teams, and organizations strategize effectively on their next level accomplishment. So, thank you for your time. I want to believe that you gained something. If you gained something, send me a message to let me know that you gained something. If you need me to clarify something, please send me a message to let me clarify that for you. And I will just say thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. Remember, we discussed your success blueprint, your own. Do a personal SWOT analysis. Remember the strategic inflection point. Respond rather than react. Okay. And also remember the difference between apathy and misguided actions so that you do not end up like the people who didn't do anything at all. Thank you for your time. God bless you.